Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am your girl Isis, and Stella is the wine that I drink. How's everybody doing today? Eddie, Sir
Doing
Shadow.
good. Doing good.
Living that life right before Memorial Day weekend. Got some mix with this Coke. I'm ready to go.
What you got mixed with the Coke?
A little bit of everything.
Oh boy,
Rum, gin,
I'm
vodka,
scared of that.
tequila, doing it all.
Oh, you got a suicide going on over there. Sound like.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
All right. What about you, Mr. Eddie? What you got in your cup?
Answer is MC.
Miller High Life.
Oh, you simple today, huh?
Yeah.
Just I ain't even gonna make it too hard. Well, I'm simple today too, but I'm extra simple. I'm just drinking my water, my circle, my flavored water with my lemon in it. It's
What
a free.
flavor you got in there? Because that thing, they got some good flavors.
Yeah, I got mixed berry this time. I got some mixed
Okay.
berry. For people
I
who
had
don't
I had
know,
cherry lime in mine the other day. It was pretty good.
oh really? I'm gonna have to try that cherry lime. They done mark these down, do them the free plug because it make me drink more water. Okay. All right. So today we are doing our top five on religious films. And as you can see, people, we are missing a couple of people, but they're always in our thoughts. Kyle is unable to join us tonight, and so is Miss V. But that's all right. We're going to make it do what it do, baby.
Fortunately though, Kyle did send his list in, and we're gonna try and do something a little different today with what he provided. But before we get into that, I got a question.
Sure.
Eddie, who you shouting out tonight?
I'm shouting out Prairie View A&M, Houston, Texas. Black Excellence, HBCU. Support them.
You like it, I love it.
That's right. All right. So, what we're going to start off today on our top five religious films. We're going to let Sir Shadow kick it off, and he's going to be presenting for Kyle.
Now I'm gonna
Okay.
do my best to do this. Nobody can duplicate Kyle. You know what I mean. Even if he provides a synopsis of the reason why he likes the movie, I could never be him. But I'm gonna do my best to explain possibly why I think he might like these movies. So I'm gonna steal the presentation, if I may, and we're
Okay.
gonna we're gonna try and do something a little different today. So y'all let me know when y'all can see my screen. We're gonna start here. His first movie is Ben Hur, and even though his documents say, can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Even though his documents say that he looking for the I think he actually said 1959. Boom, here it is. I was looking at another clip that said a different date.
Mm-hmm.
But religious movie, I think this was put into color right when it came out. One of the first movies, I think, for color, right? For Technicolor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not one of the first, because it's in the late 50s. I think Technicolor came out in the early 50s. So um, I think I might have seen scenes from this movie. I've never seen the entire movie, but we're gonna play a quick clip of it. I'm assuming that this gentleman here is Charlton Heston, the main character, and that is why this movie is booming on his list. I'm assuming back then this dude was the man, and we're gonna look at this 29-second clip, 30-second clip, and see how good the scene looks, and why it is a decent movie and why it's on his list.
All right.
Wait! No water for him.
The savagery.
He
That
looks so
man been working
sad.
all day. He just stole his. He didn't even need words for that scene. I give that man props right there because I felt his pain.
Yeah,
I
he made you feel
absolutely
it.
felt his pain. Lips all chapped.
It looks like Eddie got something to say.
If I remember this movie correctly, I don't want to be controversial about it.
And don't say nothing controversial.
It might be best for me not to say anything about it. The movie is a good movie, and Ben Hur supposed to have been an Israelite, and well, you know how I feel about that. So they used who they had to use back then, but we all. I don't want a Kyrie Irving situation, so I'm gonna end it right there.
So I think did we even say what we were reviewing this week? I think we might have skipped past that. And I
What's
and I
that?
think that's a good kind of I think we should start there before we go any further
Start
because
there.
you bring up a good point.
Well, I
I
actually
missed
did
part
say
of what he said. What did you say?
Did we
I
explain what the topic is for this week?
It's the top 5 religious movies, and
Now, what are
there's a banner running.
the parameters for that? Because when you say religious, a lot of people immediately, and even when you go to Google, they think Christian.
That's true. Well, when I say religious movies, I mean on any religion that a movie this is based on. So if you believe in Islam or if you Buddhist, so it could have been a lot. I guess when you look it up on Google, they're just typically because we're a Western civilization, so we typically think of Christianity, Catholic, Judaism. Those are the main things that we think about here in America.
yep, yep. But yeah.
So I'm
So
glad you said that, right? I'm gonna steal the screen again just for Eddie's almost stoppage of Ben Hur not being a religious movie.
oh,
No, I
Right?
didn't
but
say
can
what
I say
I
what Ben Hur was about?
no, not about a religious movie. I didn't.
I
Oh,
think you
so
can.
it does fit in the criteria of a religious
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Well,
because
Okay.
it's
my
about
whole was about the original.
Yeah, but that's not the topic for the
Right.
list this week.
I have no. I have no problem with the movie. I love the movie.
mhm.
I just feel like
It
how
was
can I
it was
put
misplaced and misguided for
not
what we
misplaced and
understand today.
misguided. You could say that they made it their own, which is not what it's supposed to be. But the story is great and the acting is great. But we know the truth. And I'm not Dr. Umar, so I'm not going to get into all that.
Right,
Mhm.
and that's understandable. Even with you name dropping them two people you just name dropped, people should
Mhm.
understand that. And if not, go ahead and do your research. But like I said, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. 1959, I do believe Charlton Heston. I believe I remember my grandmama talking about that man a lot. As a great actor, and like I seen from that scene, that 30-second clip we just seen from this, even just with the suspenseful sounds, the decent color for back then, even looking at it in HD, that looked like something I need to go back and watch today. Like, some other movies that I might see on some other people's lists that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, that movie is a great movie. You need to watch it. They try to do a lot of things to him. You make him turn into his own people. So, yeah, you got to watch it.
Yeah, it says the story recounts the adventures of Judah ben Hur, a Jewish prince from Jerusalem who is enslaved by the Romans at the beginning of the first century and becomes a charioteer and a Christian. Running in parallel with Judah's narrative is the unfolding story of Jesus from the same region and around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right. So let's go with Kyle's next pick.
All right, so for his next pick, I do believe I kind of jumped the gun, so I'm gonna try and be a bit smoother when I share the screen here. Um, his next one is gonna be another older video. I love that he picks these older movies because for some of our younger crowd who needs to experience some of these older movies and understand where we came from to where we are now in Hollywood, it's a really good stepping stone to understanding how we have evolved in our creativity, in our directing schemes, in our vision. I think it's super dope. His next one is going to be Samson and Delilah from 1949. And once again, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a 30-second clip on the screen. But I do believe that he was hyped for this one because number one, I think it had Angela Lansbury in it. Number two, this is one of my favorite stories from the Bible. So I'm pretty sure, even though I've never seen this movie, I'm pretty sure this is a super dope movie, even based off of this Technicolor and information that we just seen in the last film. So, I think it came out around the same time, or maybe actually it came out before. I think it's 10 years before. So let me go ahead and share my screen and
All
put
right.
a 30-second clip up there. But I do know the name Angela Lansbury and iconic from what I recall, especially for the time. So
Yeah, because most people know her as Murder. Is it Murder She Wrote?
That is correct.
But she was
yeah,
in a bunch of different films and even on Broadway.
yeah, and I definitely think she helped pave the way for a lot of women on screen. So even though I haven't seen this movie, I'm sure
Oh yeah,
that
you have to watch it if it's a version I'm thinking about. Go ahead and play it.
all right. And I almost, as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to play it from there. I'm going to pick up 30 seconds in so we can get a little more than just the opening portions of the trailer.
Okay.
Samson, who alone and unafraid challenged and defeated the most dreaded army of his time. His daring exploits have become legend. The lion of the desert he fought with his bare hands. See as he saw the orgies of barbaric pagans that roused his vengeful fury.
So I'm going to stop it right there. Let me say this right here. What actors today do y'all know that's finna wrestle a lion?
I know. It's like it looks so
Man,
real. It's
Uh,
like
that's a
uh,
real lion, man. That ain't no CGI. That ain't no
yeah,
Idris
they didn't have
Elba.
that then. So I was thinking like, how did they do that back then without the lion totally annihilating him?
Man, that's some good acting. That's some good training. That's some good right there for movies. And like I said,
Yeah,
we depend on technology so much nowadays that people don't even get into the practical
the
effects, the special effects,
the
and
creativity
camera
of it.
angles. Yeah, yeah. Like I think
Yes,
the last movie that I seen really get into, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but that I really seen get into using real life animals for what they're doing was John Wick 3, where they really trained those dogs, got them from puppies, and trained them up to as old as they needed them to train just for the movie.
oh,
That's
really?
crazy.
well,
Yeah.
you think about that. You think about the movie Nope. They trained the chimp. Even in
Hmm.
Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg, they trained the monkey to die and act injured after getting shot.
Wow, that's crazy. That's good though.
But
It
yeah,
make it more realistic. So, Sir Shadow, if you don't mind, I'll just read the description of this so it'll break it down for especially the younger viewers or people who's not reading the Bible. Samson is betrayed by his lover Delilah, who sent the Philistines officials to entice him, orders a servant to cut his hair while he is sleeping, and turns him over to his Philistine enemies, who gouge out his eyes and force him to grind grain in a mill at Gaza. Yeah. Did anybody want to expound on that?
Well, I don't. No, that's a good description. Like, I can go on for days and days and days about the movie, and of course I was about, but it's a great pick. I love that Kyle, a great pick.
Yeah, it
And I
was
and
good.
I don't want to add too much, but I agree with the synopsis that you read there. For the people who've never heard of the story, that is
Mhm.
a really quick to the point portion of what the story is. This dude Samson was on another level of strength, even as you saw in the trailer. And another crazy thing, for them to be able to pick people up in back in that day, put them on wires or whatever they had to do and make it look clean like they did. We seen that in the trailer. The special effects were there in the 50s. And here we are still using possibly some of that same technology. Maybe there's some green screen, maybe there's some wires and pulleys, but some of the same premises of that special effects in the movie back then, and it looked good.
I wonder
It
if
didn't
they
look like some of these B-rated movies.
I wonder if they remade if anybody thought about remaking this, and if they did, if it would be just as good as the first one, this one.
I think there's a 20 or 2008 or 2012 version of this movie. He
Mhm.
was very specific about it, and when I was pulling up the trailer, there was another new age trailer, but I don't know if it's as good as that one.
All
Okay.
right.
Maybe I'll look and see just to go back. Thank you. I guess we're ready for the next one that he has.
All right, so the next one is supposed to be another decent one, and
Mm.
it should be the greatest story ever told. Uh, Another movie, once again, that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's a possibility that I might have, staying with my grandma back in the day, watching some of these older movies, or my aunt, because they really loved a lot of these movies. Apparently, it has an all-star cast for 1965. I can't attest to that, but I'm gonna roll this 30-second clip and see what we get out of it, and we can all talk about it here in a second.
The greatest story ever told.
I am your king.
I have no king.
What do you know about a man named Jesus from Nazareth?
He's the one.
The one what?
I am the resurrection. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live.
One day we hear this.
So I don't think this is talked about enough. Is even in I don't even know any of those actors, actresses, or whatever. But even in this trailer, I don't think this is talked about enough for older movies, and how they started to set the way and the path for newer movies today. The camera angles just from that trailer were on point. You don't have a lot of exposure from the sun. The shadow work. You can still see people, the lighting, them
Mhm.
understanding cameras back then, and still being able to present it in a way where we could update it even in HD today looks really good. Like this, I'm not sure if this is a movie that I would watch, but it definitely, just from that aspect and that thought process of a director, of a screenplay, of a screenwriter, of a cameraman, grips, sound, all that stuff that goes into the background that people don't necessarily think about. It looked really good for 1960s, 1950s. Like, when people are processing and thinking and writing these scripts for times and movies, and thinking about how not the silver screen, but the big screen, and how it'll look, how to play out. People don't think about that enough, and I think it looks really good.
Yeah,
And
it does.
if I may say, of course, this is a story about Jesus and a biblical account from the when he was born all the way to the ascension. But what some people may not know is that John Wayne was in this movie, Sidney Poitier was in this movie. Um, so it was truly a all-star cast, and it is worth checking out.
Sidney Poitier was in this movie. I want to know
Yes,
what
he
Yeah,
role
was.
he
it's the
played. I
one
might
that
have to
carried the
go ahead and.
cross.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay. Might
All right.
actually need to go back and watch that film. What you got to
Mhm.
say about this one, Eddie? Because I mean, obviously, we
Well,
all know.
like I say, when they talk about religious films, and especially in Christianity, this is always one of the top ones on their list. But I'm glad he put it on there and it's spoken on this top 5 list because we don't know who's watching this list, and it could be a younger
Mhm.
person. And didn't get out of what I got out of it. I watched it when I was young. Great movie.
Mhm. All right. Well, let's try to see
Okay.
what he got on his list. So far, he doing pretty good. Is that three? Number three?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes. So I just put the next one in the chat for y'all because I am not going to be able to pull that one up. I have a family issue.
Let's see. Okay. Let me find that. Uh-oh. So the next one is Noah.
Okay. Which one?
Um, it says Noah. I wonder what year version it is.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Noah. Oh, I think it's Noah probably the 2014. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I think this is what he is talking about. Let me share my screen real quick. Bear with me, people.
It's the 2014 version. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was just saying. It was 2014, and that is the one right there. Did you have a clip of that one?
Yes, I do. Let me share my screen.
All right,
Now, I might need some assistance with this one because I don't necessarily understand. Oh, you know what? I see why he picked
Noah.
it. I don't agree with it, but give me a second.
All right.
Um, can you all see my screen?
Yep, we can.
That's on your life.
A great flood is coming. We build a vessel to survive the storm. We build an ark.
Mama! There's them!
What do you want?
You don't know your king.
There isn't anything for you here.
I have men at my back. And you stand alone and defy me.
I'm not alone.
Um, that looks like a very good film. I thought I had seen it, but I'm not 100% sure.
So the
Um,
the notes that I have for this one is he thought that it was an interesting new take on a very old story,
Hmm.
um,
Okay. All right. All
which
right.
which is understandable. I think the time period that this came out, Hollywood was in a really weird place where they were trying to figure out, what is going to sell, what's not going to sell, what movies should we remake, what movies should we not remake. Um, and this was one of those ones that haven't been, remade in a while. It's a decent story.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story is easy to, you know, build upon. We've read it in books, we've seen it in cartoons, we've seen it on TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
How can you make this fresh and new for the newer generations of old? You know,
Well,
like how we have those older movies and we just like, oh yeah, you know, this is a great story, and how do we refresh this for people to understand that it's great? I was not a fan of the movie, so I can't necessarily hype it up the way that he might. Um, and I'll leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
well, some people may not know because everybody don't teach their children about the Bible.
Now,
But the
well,
description.
you're right. You know, the thing about this movie is I feel it's misleading in a lot of different ways.
Well, before you go into that, let me say what it's about, so then you can explain on why you think it's misleading. Okay.
Okay.
It said when God decides that mankind has become too sinful and must be wiped off the earth, he chooses Noah, who is played by Russell Crowe, a pious man, for a great task. Noah must build an ark large enough to hold his wife, adopted daughter, sons, um, and their wives, plus breeding pairs of every animal. When the task is completed, Noah and his family witnesses God's wrath in the form of an apocalyptic flood. And I'm trying to figure out. Oh, okay. This guy Russell Crowe, Emma Watson, Logan Lerman, Jennifer Connelly, Anthony Hopkins, and Ray Winstone. And I was trying to figure out what part did Anthony Hopkins play. He played Methuselah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting me give that description, Eddie. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's misleading. Now, like I say, I like that you found out. To those who don't know, the oldest man who ever lived on this earth, walked the earth, was Methuselah, and he was again grandfather of Noah. And but some of the, I love the premise and I love the movie to a certain extent, but it was misleading because it had the Watchers help Noah build the ark.
Mm.
And if you watch it, you're gonna say they don't look like any type of angels, because if you go back to Genesis 6 in the Bible, it talks about the Nephilim and how the Watchers came down and had children with the daughters of men,
Mhm.
and it was put in. It was cast to the deepest part of the earth, covered in rocks. That's why the angels was covered in rocks. And
That is also a problem that I have with it, with the movie, is it's really misleading.
it's
And I
real
feel like this was a
misleading.
time in Hollywood where they were doing anything that they could to generate money,
Yeah,
not to be true to the source material, not to be true to fans. It was just whatever they could to generate money. And I'm not sure if that's because of what happened and I'm saying Hollywood, not Bollywood, not, you know, in the Asian markets or anything else, but due to the 2008, you know, recession, everybody was trying to come out of that hole, and they were doing anything that they could to get people to come back and to watch movies. And I'm sure that somebody's going to bring up one of, in my opinion, one of the greatest movies ever produced and directed for a religious movie later. And that movie was produced around and put out around the same time, but it definitely brought out crowds way larger than Noah because it stuck to the source material and to what fans understood for the story. So, and
yeah,
I don't think Noah did that, and I think it was I think it was really disrespectful to the source material.
yes. The source
But that's just
material,
me.
the
That's just me.
Christianity, and those who practice that and everything. But I just felt like, I'm not mad at his choice. I'm just giving my opinion about the movie.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not mad at his choice. I'm giving my opinion. I'm pretty sure he felt the same way. If he was here, he would say he just thought it was an interesting take on it. Because there's
Mhm.
other parts in that movie that was real misleading as well. But okay, we ain't go into that. So
All
Shadow,
right.
what's next on the list? I'm sorry, Miss Host. I stepped on your toes.
So the next one is definitely, in my opinion, deserving of a better spot in my. Well, actually, I think this is a good spot for it, and just because of where it came from, where it's coming from for this person. This is the honorable mention for Mr. Kyle, and I can see why, because it's funny. It involves Jim Carrey, Morgan Freeman. It's top notch. It is different. It was a good spin that stuck closer to the source material, in my opinion, than the last one, and it was done better, way better, in my opinion. And it's Bruce Almighty. I think Jim Carrey is really slept on as an actor, and I'm sure Kyle agrees with me, especially in this day and age. I think that a lot of younger comedians, actors can learn a lot from him, and where his roots came from, and where to take the better path in Hollywood. You don't have to sell out like a lot of people have done. I don't think Jim Carrey has. To a degree, he might have, depending on how you look at it. But once again, we're going to throw a 30-second clip up there just to kind of, shed a bit more light on why this movie is even chosen for this. And then Isis will give the premise as to why, or the premise of the movie. I did something a little early. Give me 1 second. I apologize. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Let me know when you all can see my screen.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let that play.
Responsibility in the universe.
It's funny. I woke up this morning and I swear my boobs felt bigger. Do they look bigger to you?
No. Bigger. From Universal Pictures and Spyglass Entertainment.
You've got prayers.
I'm doing some good here.
And the director of Liar Liar.
Sam. Forget something?
Jim.
This movie is such a classic, in my opinion, that it's on another level. I could be biased. I could be biased here, but I think it was done well. It was done in a comedy sense, because this is the angle that a lot of humans see Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Oh, if we're all in this in prayer and talking to God and whatever, why don't we have everything that we wish for? There's a lot more that goes into religion than that.
Right.
It is not just prayer, and understanding. And I think this shows people that it's not as easy as you think that it is to be Jesus Christ, or to be God, or to be the Holy Spirit. There's a lot more into it than that. And that's why I love this movie. And once again, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody else, because I know there might be somebody else who has other similar movies, or this movie might be even on their list. But this, for Kyle's sake, I think this was an honorable mention because it meets his comedy criteria. It meets his acting criteria. It meets his understanding of a movie as a whole criteria. Is there any more to say than that?
No, it's a pretty good movie. If anybody wants to know, it's about Jim Carrey was playing Bruce Nolan as a down on his luck television reporter who complains to God, played by Morgan Freeman, that he's not doing his job correctly, and is offered the chance to try being God himself for 1 week. Yeah,
I love this.
that was
I love
made in 2003.
I love that movie. It about made my list. But when I not knowing Cal the way I do, I thought he was gonna pick something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna say it could be on somebody's list. But I enjoyed the movie. It was Almighty. And I might have to come back later on about what I thought he was gonna put on this list. I'm not gonna say it now because it could be on somebody else's list.
Yeah.
Somebody did it.
Yeah, in case anybody wants to watch this movie, it looks like you can find it on Peacock, Fubo, is that what it's called? Fubo TV and Philo, and you can rent it on YouTube for $3.79. That is all right. They just got a besides Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman, did you know Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston was in this movie?
Yep.
Yep. So yeah.
Jennifer Anderson was his girlfriend. And
Oh yeah,
that
that's right. They just showed it on the clip. And it's got a 6.8 out of 10 stars on IMDb. So that's not too bad.
it should have been better. But
yeah, it should have been. And Rotten Tomatoes is 48%. That's what it got.
Should have been better.
Yeah,
Now,
I think people. Well, we need to go on there and vote and raise up the score.
And I think, like I said, if you compare this movie to the rest of his list, it makes a bit of sense why he might have it on as his honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different from almost everything else on his list, religious wise.
Right.
You know, it has that big comedy aspect into it. As you saw from the trailer, talking about emails and answering everybody's prayers, letting the dog go to the bathroom, blowing up a fire hydrant for kids on the block while it's hot. You know, it's a different spin on anything else on his list. And I think that's a good reason to have it on his honorable mention list, where it could have been that number 1. It could have been his number 6. Or his number 5. You just never know. That's a good spot. That's kind of how I look at the honorable mention list also, but yeah.
Okay.
Anything else that anybody wanted to add to that one, possibly for Kyle?
No, I like that movie a lot.
I did too. What's his number 1?
All right, so for his number 1, I think this is very deserving of his number 1 spot, and it is the 10 Commandments. I'm sure that he is talking about the older version of it, which I believe was 1929. This movie is definitely something that I've seen before. It is, I hate trying to compare it to older movies because I feel like it's one of those that are a step above for older movies. It kind of set the pace for how to use special effects and camera. And when you're working with less, you can do more. It still looks decent without the CGI, because back obviously in the 1920s, I believe it was, whenever they created the movie, they didn't have computers. Like it was imagination and creativity back then, and they did really good. Obviously, like I said, for those kids who don't understand what it was like to live without computers, they'll never really understand watching this movie. But if you can even fathom what it was like, then you'll understand even when we just play this clip. And I'll do my best to put it in a decent spot for, like I said, for the 30 seconds, so you can kind of get an understanding of what it looks like for the special effects that they were dealing with, the camera angles, the sheer amount of people that they had to film for even some of these scenes. They did really good. Let me put it right about here. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I should have had this ready. And I don't even know how to state that this movie is sheer amazing, because it is, and I don't see how people have not watched it yet. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Look, just starting right here, the greatest epic of all time. And this is just a trailer that I pulled up from the 1920s.
1920.
I'm just
They
saying.
didn't even have color in 1920.
No, they didn't. But this has been updated for those people who can't stand to watch black and white. And I think this was
made in 1956.
1956. Okay, my apologies. My apologies. My dates are all wrong. But still, even for the 50s. Here we go.
Behold his mighty hand. Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law.
The Ten Commandments.
All I
Now
had to
on
do was
4K
play
Ultra
the
HD Blu-ray and
ending.
digital.
The ending of the trailer. And you
That's
still you still get an understanding for what they were doing in the 50s. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
I remember watching this as a kid. And it was good then.
Mhm.
Watching this
Yeah,
as a
great.
9-year-old. We didn't have HD back then, and it was still good. We had 720p standard definition. We didn't even know that was standard definition back then.
No, we didn't. Mhm. Before you expound on it, let me just tell the people what this is about in case you don't know. Moses, raised as a prince of Egypt in the Pharaoh's household, learns of his true heritage as a Hebrew and his divine mission as the deliverer of his people from slavery. Did you want to expound on that, Mr. Sir Shadow?
That's a tough one to expound upon. I'm not gonna front. I mean, obviously, it's something that we know from the Bible. Other stories or other religions may not know that story. I think that the Bible, even if you're not a Christian, is one of the greatest stories ever told, regardless of if you're looking at the Old Testament or the New Testament. I'm not hating on any other religions. I'm not dismissing on any other religions. But when you look at it from a story standpoint and you read some of the chapters, whether they're in the Bible or not in the Bible, some of those books, it blows your mind some of the things that people went through, whether Samson, another movie that we talked about earlier, where the gentleman got his hair cut off and had crazy strength, whether it's Noah and what he did with the ark and how he, took his family and got 2 of every creature to go on this boat that he built by hand, whether it's, the 10 Commandments and these rules that you were supposed to follow, as a guideline to life. These stories are just mind blowing. And if you think about it and how many movies that we see today and how many stories that we've heard since the Bible back in, BC, the creativity there, just from a storytelling standpoint, is crazy. And
yes, it is.
You think about other cultures and where they came from and how they mimic, different storylines. I'm not saying that everything was taken from the Bible. I'm not saying that the Bible didn't take from other cultures, whatever, what have you. Just the storytelling aspect from those stories and the collection that the Bible has is ridiculous. So for it to be put on a big screen, for us to be able to watch and interpret, is crazy. And like I said, with those special effects that they had back in those days to make fire look like fire on this big screen for thousands of people to watch, lions jumping out of caves and stuff like that for people to wrestle and fight. Obviously, back then they were a lot larger lions, but it's still mind blowing to think of those stories and those characters and for that stuff to possibly really exist on this planet. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, great movie. I have no complaints. I really have no complaints about this list. I thought the list was good. Yeah, I thought it was real good. And objectively, that's what he felt were the 5 greatest religious movies. I have no problem with it.
And for
really good list.
Yeah, that was an awesome list. I really like the choices that you put on there. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to say while the people, I mean, what I did a few minutes ago, in case anyone wanted to go catch this film, this awesome movie, um, you can find it on Apple TV, of course, your Redbox, Vudu, Amazon Prime, YouTube. Any of those that I listed, it costs $3.99, so they're still making money off of this. It's not free.
And I gotta apologize. I feel like we took a lot more time than we normally do when people are explaining their movies. But I just wanted to do his list a bit of justice.
Oh no, you're fine. If you don't mind, I would like for you to pull up the clips of mine, and I could just pull up the description. That way, they can hear um, a little bit of it. If you don't mind, Sir Shadow.
Oh yeah, if you could either do me the courtesy of pre-typing it in the chat before you describe it, as you just did, I'll pull it up, and I'm assuming we'll follow the same 30-second format, and I can keep it rolling.
Sure.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm not going anywhere. I have to take care of some business real quick.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I'm gonna start with my list. And the first one I chose is Risen, made in 2016. Were you able to find that, Sir Shadow?
I got you right now. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm assuming this is the right one. Oh, what is going on? There we go. Okay. See,
All right.
I did earlier.
Let me know when you're ready.
More than just the. Is this the right one?
Let me see.
Yes. This the right one? Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and play the 30 seconds. You let me know.
What was his name? He was called Yeshua.
The man's dead. His followers are in hiding.
He's been a threat.
Take control out there and finish things.
The tomb is sealed. Guard it with your life.
If this body vanishes, we have a potential Messiah.
Where has he gone? You tell me.
You will track down the corpse of Yeshua.
Now, there was something in that trailer that I saw that kind of throws me off for that movie, and
what
you tell me, because I've never seen it.
You never seen it?
No, I've never seen this movie. I do know the actor though.
Okay.
Who is this story told through the eyes of?
Well, it's told through there's a Roman soldier named Clavius who's asked to investigate about the resurrection of Christ, because this is going around like, this guy has risen. How has he risen? Was he really dead to begin with? So he's good.
So the premise of the movie is not necessarily set in the during Christ's time. It's set in future. He's investigating the past
during the time of Christ. This is right after his crucifixion.
Oh,
let me just give you a description, a summary that I found that may help you out. So, a Roman military tribune, Clavius, remains set in his ways after serving 25 years in the army. He arrives at a crossroad when he's tasked to investigate the mystery of what happened to Jesus following the crucifixion. Accompanied by a trusted aide, Lucius, his quest to disprove rumors of a risen Messiah makes him question his own beliefs and spirituality. As his journey takes him to places never dreamed of, Clavius discovers the truth that he's been seeking.
ISIS. I love this movie.
Did you?
It was on my list as well, but I'm not going to use it. I love this movie, Sir Shadow, for the simple fact is you had to look at it from the Romans' point of view. Because if the Messiah had rose, everything they believed in was false. Everything they put their faith in was false. It was this guy's duty to show that the resurrection did not happen, but he could not find it. And it changed his mind frame of what it was. Because you got to remember, Jesus said he would die and he would rise again in 3 days. And this is set right after the crucifixion. So he goes to the tomb to find the body like 3 days later, and it's not there. So he's trying to fix it. Shows the what is it called? The shower when you put over your face when you pass away. They got historical records now to show the face of Christ. He finds that and he's looking in his whole mind frame. Oh, I love this movie. Great pick, Isis. Great pick.
Thank you. And for people who want to maybe see the movie, you can find it on YouTube, Google Play, Movies and TV, Apple TV, Redbox, Vudu, or Amazon Prime for the low price of $3.99.
No, let me ask a question. What was the acting like in this movie? Obviously, it wasn't something that was a big name release. It didn't hit theaters, from what I know. Maybe it did just during the Easter time frame. Sorry.
Oh, the acting is good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
It doesn't seem subpar at all.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but like I said, it looks like a B-rated movie.
I think this went to the theaters.
It did go to the theaters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just missed it. Okay, that works.
Yeah. Okay. It actually, it says at the box office, it brought in $46.4 million.
Ooh.
And it was released February 19th of 2016.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to go to my next pick. Okay. And I thought this was a great movie as well. I gotta
Is it 20?
Give me just a moment. Did you locate that, Sir Shadow?
I'm getting some 2014s, not 2016s. We can see if that's all right.
Yeah, I didn't put the year on that one. That was so 2014 is correct.
2014 is correct. Okay.
This is correct. So my next pick is called Heaven is Real. Do you have a clip about that?
Yes, I do. And I will share my screen. And I want to say I have heard of this movie. Give me 1 second. You see my screen?
Sure do. That's a great starting point. You might want to go back just a couple of seconds.
I'll go back 10 seconds. How's that?
Okay, that's good.
All right.
You had a baby die in your tummy, didn't you? Honey, I told you I had a baby die in my tummy. In heaven, this little girl came up to me. She told me she died in your tummy.
We need to get him in surgery right away. The pain that I suffered watching my son that close to death
We're in trouble here. He's much worse. Will you call some friends and pray for him?
Boy, let me tell you, that just in 30 seconds gave me chills. I ain't even gonna I'm not even gonna lie. Just
That's a
within those
different
30
take.
seconds.
Let me tell you what this is about. It's a small town businessman, and I don't think this actor get his props either. He's a good actor to me. He plays a pastor and a volunteer firefighter. That his name is Todd Burpo, and Greg Kinnear is the actor playing that part. And like I said, I don't think he gets his accolades like he should. And his wife Sonia are struggling to make ends meeting during a tough year after their young son Colton undergoes emergency surgery. Todd and Sonia are overjoyed at the child's miraculous recovery. However, the Burbos are unprepared for what happens next. Colton says that he went to heaven and back and tells his parents things that he couldn't possibly know. Have you seen this movie, Eddie?
No, I haven't watched that movie.
That sounds like an Eddie movie through and through.
It is, and I think both of you and the audience would truly enjoy this movie. It can be a family film, it can be something you watch on your own. It's gonna be a tearjerker, but also it just touches your heart. There's a and you don't have to pay for this. You can go watch this now, even though I think it was an awesome movie. They're not charging you like the other ones we mentioned. With YouTube, you would need a subscription, and some of these other platforms to watch it, you would need a subscription, but maybe you are subscribed to some of these. So YouTube, Stars, Hulu, Sling TV, the Roku channel, Amazon Prime, Philo. If you want to pay for it because you don't have any of those, then you could pay for it through Google Play Movies, Apple TV, Redbox. But I'm sure you have one of those channels, Sir Shadow, that you could watch it for free.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm hoping Redbox never goes away.
You know, I was thinking that too. I was thinking, there's probably some people out there that, because the older generation don't want to deal with streaming, so they will keep their cable boxes. That's why cable TV is never going anywhere. They're going to
and the way that
business.
The way the streaming is becoming a cable box, I don't blame them. It might become the cheaper option.
Yeah, exactly. Because after you subscribe to all of these different streaming platforms, you're paying as much or more than you were paying for cable.
Let's not go off on that tangent. But I'm gonna say this. $100 a year, $120 a year for Amazon Prime, $23 a year or every month for Netflix. We ain't even introduced HBO Max, YouTube, or any of these other channels. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But, what you got next? What you got next on the
topic
on the ballot?
That's a topic for when you come back and check out our other show.
hit him with that shameless plug.
When we come out and talk about other topics that don't have anything necessarily to do with movies, and it's gonna be pretty exciting, people. So stay tuned and watch what happens. What we got coming for you.
I can't wait.
So this one you don't need to pull up because Kyle had it on his list as well. And that's the 10 Commandments as well, because that's one of my favorite movies. Charleston Heston was a great actor. And if you don't know who he is, he has a wealth of movies out.
Let me ask you a question. Was there a difference in why you liked the movie and why I think that Kyle might have liked the movie?
I like the movie because being raised in a household, well, let me say this. I mean, of course, both my parents believe in God and Jesus Christ, but I had a really God-fearing grandmother that always taught us about the Bible. And when I seen the 10 Commandments as a little girl, I want to say I was probably like maybe 9 or 10. That really touched me, and it brought to life what my grandmother was talking about. How you learn not to do this, the rights and wrongs, the 10 Commandments telling you what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. And how some people just, even in that moment, took for granted of their freedom and just went to partying while he getting the laws, y'all throwing the party downstairs. So it lets you know, it taught me then that people didn't appreciate the things that sometimes gifts are right in your face. God will give you a gift, and it's almost like he say, don't throw your pearl to the swine, because as soon as you get the gift, they step on it.
Yep.
They'll muddy up your shininess.
Exactly. So
They
I
don't
learned
even
that
care.
at an early age. It taught you that. So build a foundation. If you don't have a foundation, some people don't know. Just take a look at it and see. Maybe it might touch somebody else's heart.
Yep.
All right. So were you able to find that next one, Sir Shadow?
It's loaded up and ready to go when you are.
All right, you can go ahead and pull that up for me. And this is another maybe a tearjerker. It touched my heart too. And this one is called Letters to God, 2010. Here is a clip.
Everything I touch turns to dust. I can't hold on to anything.
It seems to me that God put these letters in your hands for a reason.
Trust God, Maddie. Whatever his will, Maddie. You know what? I don't agree with his will, Mom.
I'm going back to school today, right? What do you think, Sam? I think he's ready.
Nice. Are you on a team?
I haven't played since I got sick. I want to, though.
Thank you for taking some time with Tyler. I really appreciate that.
I think I might have took just a little longer than I was supposed to. And we
thank
can
you.
blame that on the liquor. So I apologize.
Bring it on alcohol.
Alcohol. I can't wait for Jamie Foxx to make this full recovery and keep doing
Yeah,
his
me
movies and
too.
podcasts and stuff.
Prayers going up for Jamie for sure. All
Get
right.
more Jamie.
Yes, we do. So, in Letters to God, this movie is about an extraordinary 8-year-old named Tyler Doherty, armed with strong faith and courage as he faces his daily battle against cancer. Surrounded by a loving family and a community, Tyler prayers take the form of letters he sends to his ultimate pen pal, God, on a daily basis. So, and as you can see, this was based off a true story.
Hmm.
Yes. So, um, if you want to check this movie out, you can find it on Tubi, Pluto, Peacock, the Roku channel, Redbox for free, Voodoo, Crackle, Amazon Prime, Plex.
Hold up.
Sir
Hold
Shadow's
up.
favorite.
When was Redbox free?
That's
When
what
did
it
that
say
start?
on here. It say Redbox free.
Man, Redbox
Maybe
ain't free.
you could click on the link that is showing you. But and Plex, which like I said, is one of Sir Shadow's favorite platform.
I might check that bad boy out this weekend.
Also on YouTube. So yeah. this is a pretty good movie. The mailman is a disgruntled mailman. He would drink heavily. He always was like negative things don't never go right for me type of thing. And then he gets this route, and all of a sudden he's getting all these letters, and you see his boss was like, well, this is something you got to deal with. This little boy totally turns his whole life around, and affects the little boy affects everybody he's in touch with. So it's really a good movie. You have a young person, 8 years old, teaching older people, like you can learn stuff from a kid every day.
Yes.
How much faith
Yes.
you have, regardless of what you're going through.
That's right.
And did you want to say something else? Eddie, you look like you want to say something.
No, I never seen the movie.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm just thinking to myself, it sounds like a great movie.
It is. I
Yeah,
think
and I don't know how. I think honestly, I think religion is working through us today, because I don't know how I picked the perfect timing for that trailer, but it seems like it's hitting where I need to watch it. So I'm really skeptical about trailers, by the way. So for me to pull up a trailer, not knowing that I've never seen the movie, and be able to just spot check and put it on. I don't know if that's just the work of religion, or if it's the work of the person who actually created the trailer.
Yep. So thank you, sir. This next movie is a little bit different from, I think, well, my list is kind of different. This is my honorable mention. And I mainly picked it because I like the cast in the movie. And the people you get to see, plus I like singing. So, and that is The Fighting Temptations, made in 2003.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
I'm sorry, 2003.
Yes, to Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yep.
Okay.
You ready for this trailer, Sir Shadow?
Yes. Just give me 1 second. I apologize for any background noise.
And I just seen this. It came on recently. Wow. I'll go ahead and let you play the trailer. Go ahead.
I was just kidding about that small town stuff.
This fall.
Well, where's our choir?
You're looking at it. To make a last wish come true.
Auditions for the Beulah Baptist Church Choir now open.
Tell me to leave. You gotta be kidding me.
It will take more than a miracle.
Choir, I'd like you to meet our new soloist. Tramp. Hi.
The Lord is good.
I apologize for my giggles and laughter.
That's okay. It well deserved. As you can see, you got Cuba Gooding Jr., Beyonce, Steve Harvey, LaTanya Richardson, in case people don't know, Samuel Jackson's wife, Mike Epps, Chloe Bailey is in there as a little girl, and Melba Moore. I mean, there's so many people in this movie, and of course you get Mary, you get to see Shirley Caesar, as you just seen on that clip. But this is about a New York advertising executive who travels back to his small town where he grew up with his, I believe it was his grandmother that was raising him, because his mother had passed away. And she leaves him with a task to take on, to get the choir in shape and go to this, I think she mainly wanted him to get the choir in shape, but at the same time, she knew that he was going to learn a lesson. Boy, this man would lie like a rug. He would lie about everything.
Let me throw out a fun fact real quick.
Go ahead.
And I just learned this. I did not know this. This, I believe, was the first time that Chloe Bailey and Beyonce met on while
this movie.
in this movie.
Really?
And lo and behold, it led to her getting a record deal along with her
Mhm.
sister, and them
Isn't that something?
going up crazy. Yeah, you never
Mhm.
know when your blessings are going to come and how your
That's true.
relationships are going to blossom. So by all means, that they say to take a lot of shots and see which ones you make, and do what you got to do and go from there. And I think that was really amazing for her career and where
Yep.
she's going and where her sister's going, especially with this day and age. That was released 2010. Here we are 13 years later, and The Little Mermaid is about to be released with
this is 2003.
2003. That's even crazier. Like
Mhm.
with Little Mermaid is about to be released, I believe, within the next 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
her sister is the main star. So that's crazy.
She almost
Full
come back
circle.
full circle almost.
I
Yeah.
know.
You want a movie that's gonna make you laugh, also, teaches you about inspiration and faith and just believing. Oh, Montel Jordan is in this movie too. Yeah, so there's a lot of different people in this movie. So if you want to watch it, you're gonna need a subscription to see it.
That
But
was your honorable mention, right?
yeah, that's my honorable mention. I did see that it's listed on Bravo, so maybe you can find it on Bravo without paying for it. But Peacock, Fubo, Hulu, Sling TV, Apple TV, Google Play, Redbox, Vudu, and YouTube with your primetime subscription. I didn't even know YouTube had a primetime subscription, but hey,
Oh
they
yeah,
do.
I think it's like $10 to $12 a month. I want it so bad, but I refuse to pay for it. I'll give you the AdSense. I'll watch an ad for you to make that extra money.
Yeah, all right.
Yep. So I know this next one, y'all pretty much probably already know that it was gonna be on my list. So, and I mean, because it is a classic. When we talked about movies that they make about the Bible nowadays and staying close to the true version of it, this one does. And that is the Passion of the Christ. I'm sorry, Eddie. I had to do it to you.
Hey, this is a tough film, and I apologize. My son decided to turn off the lights on me. He thought it's time to go to sleep. You're right. It's time for him to go night night. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this trailer, and I'm gonna share my screen.
And we can still see you, by the way.
Okay.
So
I might have to try to get some better lighting here in a second. And I'm gonna try and put it on Eddie's favorite scene, because I know my guy Eddie.
Yeah, let's see if you can find it.
This is a good movie. Oh, I missed it. Let me tell y'all something, man. Even though I missed Eddie's favorite scene, this movie is on another level of movies, especially for religious. This is a really good pick. I'm not gonna talk about this movie. I'm gonna let you do what you do. ISIS, if you gotta take before I even let you do what you gotta do about this film. All right. I know we're talking about religious films. I know y'all see us drinking. All of us got a little something. ISIS out here drinking the water. It's a-okay. Jesus turned water into wine. We ain't out here doing nothing discriminatory. you know, and this movie, when you watch this movie, it is going to do more than explain what you need to understand about religion and whole. I'm not even, you know what? I just take it away before I take your whole movie and a half.
This movie, Mel Gibson did a phenomenal job on this movie, putting it together. You got Jim Caviezel. Am I saying his name wrong? You know his last name, Caviezel.
Jim
Caviezel. Is playing Jesus, Monica Bellucci, Maya Morgenstern, Rosalind Solantino. I always wanted to know who played the devil in this movie. And I could see her playing it. And then there's another guy that played Jesus too. His name is Andre Refuto. He must have been in different parts. I didn't notice. But this tells you, this story goes beyond what we would see for the traditional movie about Christ, about Jesus going around teaching the word and resurrecting people. And I mean, he does some of that in this film, but mostly this is showing you about the trial and what he went through. And it really breaks it down, showing people when he said he died for you, this is what he went through to bring all the sins of the world upon himself. When he got whipped, it wasn't just a whip like we seen slaves of our people or Jewish people or any other people go through. They had metal on the whips that ripped his flesh off. Nobody, no man, regular man or woman could possibly go through what he went through. And he took on all the illnesses, all the sins. So you got physical, but you also got the mental on top of that. Yo.
Let me throw something out there, because you stated something that I disagree with, and I don't want Kyle's list to be the only thing that I disagree with. So for the scene that you stated, we have never seen a whip scene go this hard in a movie. I agree with you 1,000%. I didn't know about the Cat of Nine Tails until this movie came out. And I could be wrong. It might be hidden somewhere in Glory or some of those older movies that I might have missed out on. But the depiction of the Cat of Nine Tails in this movie hits different, right? And even in this movie, right? Like I said, we've seen whipping scenes before. This movie came out in the 2000s. There's been whipping scenes since, goodness gracious, the 1940s, I believe, 1950s, right? But this one feels different. It hits different. Not because I'm black, God in this movie is white, or Jesus is white in this movie, and it still hits me. And also not because I'm a Christian. But when you see this, I have not watched this movie since I've seen it in theaters, because it hit that hard. Because it sticks in my brain that hard. Like the movie in general, the scenes, the way that Mel Gibson directed this movie, the way that you understand, the way that the acting hits, the way that the movie is put together as a whole. I think a lot of people forget when they watch movies that it takes more than just a great actor. It takes more than just a good plot. It takes more than just CGI or good action scenes or sound. It's a culmination of things. Same as a great song. When you hear a great song, it's a culmination of the lyrics, the songwriters, the people who put that stuff together to make it amazing. And this hits different than we've talked about so far.
Right. So, and I know Eddie, you gonna want to say a few words about it.
Well, I'm gonna just say a few things, and I'm not gonna go in depth because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. because it puts me in a place. My favorite scene in that whole movie is at the beginning of the movie, very beginning of the movie. You see Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane,
I'm sorry, I tried to put it on that scene. I tried.
and he's praying, and the sweat is dripping. To put this in context, he took some other disciples with him. He told them to stay awake while he prayed. And he's praying so hard, the sweat is dripping off his face. And he says, and you got to read it now, he say, Lord, if you may, let this cup pass from my hand. Because in that moment, that showed his humanity, that he was God in human form. Because he knew he had to die in order for God's plan to work. And at that moment, he said, Lord, if it's your will, let this cup pass through my hand. Meaning he didn't really want to do it. But then he snapped back into his godly form. And you see the serpent in the garden slithering right by him. And he crushes the snake's head with his heel. They let him know, okay, I'm back. I'm back. And then all of a sudden, the soldiers coming through the garden to arrest him.
And I'm glad you brought that up. And I apologize for jumping in here. But this is a scene that people don't realize has so much power and significance when we watch movies. People who watch movies, they watch it just to be entertained for an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. There's so much that is being fed to you visually through these scenes, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. There's so much being fed to you through these actors, through these portrayers, through the sound that you're hearing through these speakers. It's so much, and people we've become so accustomed to just watching something through a screen that you don't even know what you're receiving.
Yeah, that
amazing pick.
That was powerful. That's a powerful movie. Powerful movie.
It is. It's still. I've seen it since we went to the movies to see it, and I haven't seen it that often because like yourself, it hits. If you know the true meaning behind it and the scenes that you seen, it really hits, and it's hard to watch to see anybody go through that, but you really appreciate what he done for you after you seen that film.
Great movie.
I cried in the movie theater twice on that movie.
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't put that in my top 5 because I feel like it's a disrespect to him. It's in his own category. There's no 1 or 5. It's by itself.
That's true.
I've seen that movie probably 20 times.
Yeah. And if you want to watch it, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Go ahead. I'm not.
If you want to watch it, it's on Tubi for free. Peacock
for $3.99.
For $3.99. Your favorite Plex, Amazon Prime, VIX, YouTube. You have to pay. Vudu, Google Play, Redbox for $2.99. Apple TV has it for $4.99. There's a lot of different platforms you can catch this movie, and it's a must watch.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Now, Eddie.
Yeah.
I need that good. You got 2 good lists ahead of you. We had an hour and a half of amazing religious movies.
Right. For just 3 of us.
I'm not going to go
right.
long.
Well, 4 technically.
And I have to go do something real quick before I do this list. So, give me a little airtime real quick.
You want to...
Do you need me to go?
No.
All right. We'll give you some more feeder time.
Yeah.
With, some filler time. So far, this is a bit of a different take on what we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
ISIS, you tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously, this is a completely different category. It's religious. It can be touchy.
Yeah.
You never know where people are going to come from with their religious views or, their beliefs. And you
Mm-hmm.
might have some anarchists. You might have some non-believers, some Christians, some atheists. You just never know what you're going to get with this particular list.
That's true.
I think this list was a bit controversial. I'm kind of glad that you picked it. It obviously is probably going to be one of our longest running videos without the video feed of others. How did you come up with this list?
From what we had chosen in the past few weeks, it had gotten really kind of dark. And I just wanted to bring some light to the channel. To me, it's like you can't have bad without having good. You can't have, the evil without having what's the opposite of evil?
The positive, the light, the good.
Right. So I just wanted to bring it back to that. Bring it to that because some of the shows that we have done, really the last two that y'all have seen has been about horror. Then we did vampires. I mean, what people don't know is we've been doing this for a while, and we just thought, hey, let's share this with other people because they might want to see some of these films that they haven't thought of. How many nights are you at home bored trying to figure out what to watch? You just flipping through the channel, and this is a good way to find some good movies, or we also tell you what movies to avoid.
I'm so glad you brought that up. You know what I like about these lists is we all have different views, whether it be a five panel view, or it be a 3-panel view or a 2-panel view on what we're gonna pick on these movies.
That's right.
So any time that you tune into this, you're gonna get anywhere from 5 or 6 to a minimum 5 or 6 being the minimum to a 35. I'm not the mental math genius. 35, 40 person list or 35, 40 movie list to review, because some people like to throw in extra honorable mentions even though they shouldn't.
It'd be kind of excited.
Right. Just excited off the topic. And I know I'm one of those people who has a decent home theater or, living room kind of setup where, we get together as a family, we watch these movies, and there's just something different that you want to watch, or, something that you've seen as an old classic you haven't seen in a while that you just want to watch again. I think people really need to tune in for this.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I can't wait to see your new home theater because I know it's pretty awesome, especially the sound quality. So it'll be just like sitting in an AMC theater somewhere.
I wish. I got some upgrades to make, but I appreciate your enthusiasm for what I've been trying to do.
All right, Eddie. So I know you're gonna hit us with some really good ones because you always have awesome lists.
My thing is, y'all had good list, and I had some of the movies, but like I said, and behind the scenes pick, I always write down about 12 to 15. I don't regurgitate. So the first movie on this list I got, my number 5 movie, is a movie starring Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters, Vanessa Bell Calloway. You don't know who she is. She played in a lot of different things. I think one of her more memorable roles is in What's Love Got to Do with It. And she was one of the dancers.
Right.
And she was Tina Turner in that film, one of her best friends. And the movie is called To Hell and Back, 2015. and I watched this movie on Tubi. And I like this movie because it was for those who say, well, I just can't sit down and watch a religious movie. Love thy neighbor, this and that. This is a spin on it for modern time of the story of Job. In the beginning of the movie, the devil talks to Job, devil talks to God, and it says, God says, have you found anybody on this planet that's good and as great as my servant? His name is Job, not Job in the movie. And he says, everybody can be faithful to you until you put sudden on his head. And God said, well, go ahead, let's make a wager. You can do whatever you want to, just do not harm him. And it's modern time, and Joe is real estate and planner.
Is this
So
it?
that's it. He had
Did you want Sir Shadow to show a clip of it if he can?
if you can find it, it don't matter.
Oh, I see it. It's on TV One.
Yeah, it's on TV One. And this and that. Like I said, these is for people who said they can't sit down and watch this movie. It could have been on a Lifetime movie, could be anything. And the thing, he faced a lot of hardships, took away his fortune, took away a lot of his family, and he was down. He was down. And his wife had left, and it was terrible. And his son is the one that brought him back to reality again. And they were like, but something happened to his son as well. And people were thinking, it's a whole bunch of twisted. I don't want to give it away since it's so new. And I would really advise people to go watch this movie. It's only an hour and a half long. It's not a long movie. But it lets you know, even when you think things are the worst, God is always there. And we ask, and sometimes we want to question God. And it's not for him to be questioned. And he's going to make sure it's all right at the end. So that's all I'm going to say about this movie. Like I say, now, don't expect to be some big Hollywood blockbuster. It's a good story, good thing. And if you don't know about the book of Job, Job was afflicted, lost his family, lost everything. And he almost cursed God, but he didn't. But he questioned.
So I apologize because I can't find it.
I don't think there's a trailer for it.
Not a trailer for it.
But
No, I couldn't. And my facial expressions were a bit weird while he was explaining the movie, and it's because I couldn't find anything that might have been working for what he was trying to explain without it being the correct movie. So I don't want to show a trailer for it because I don't think it'll work.
That's fine. 2015.
Pretty good because it got almost 8 stars out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, it's good because it shows the tragedy, but it don't show it in the way it would have been back years ago. It's modern time tragedy. And you'll be like, wow. And the stuff that happened, you could say, it could happen to you. People say sometimes stories in the Bible, it's unbelievable. How he shows it in the way this could happen to you, and it might have happened to some people. So I'm pretty sure it has happened to people. Some of the trials and tribulations he went through. So great movie. My number 4 movie. Hello?
Yeah, I said I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yeah. My number 4 movie, I'm taking a page out for you, Isis.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick, I just wanted to tell people that if you want to see that, you can see it on Crackle or Tubi.
My number 4 movie is a page out of your book, Isis. And this movie came out in 2014, but there's different versions of this movie. I suggest people go watch it. and it stars Nicolas Cage, and it's called Left Behind.
Oh yeah.
And the premise of this movie is the rapture comes. People don't want to believe it, but the rapture comes.
It's coming.
And some people are left behind. You still got a chance to get your soul and stuff right, but there's gonna be some trials and tribulations going on.
You got that there, Shadow?
Nicolas Cage, I think in the movie his name was Rayford Steele.
Yep, that's it. And I wish they would make some more.
Now they got another version with I think boy name is Cameron. What's that boy name? Cameron Buck is also in the name of the characters in the movie, but the guy he used to play on, I want to say it was Family Ties or something like, turned his life around Christian.
Let me show it real quick.
What's that?
This version that you're talking about with Cameron, I can't think of his name either. But that's him right there.
Yes. And that version didn't go to the movies. You had to watch that one. You had to order it and do it online and stuff like that. The Nicolas Cage one went to the movies, but it was based off a book series. Great series. But and this is just the first. This movie was just the first of many movies that supposed to came after it. But this is when you realize that you did not get to go to the rapture. Half your family gone, but you was left behind. And you can even see, you seen a preacher in there, and the preacher like, "What are you doing here?" He say, "I taught the word, but I didn't believe it like that."
Yeah.
This movie, this TV show messed me up mentally.
It messed you up.
I'm not gonna lie. It made me understand that I need to be more secure and firm in my faith and understanding in what I do, because you definitely can be left behind.
You can be left behind.
It messed me up.
Yeah, love that movie.
Kirk Cameron, that's his name.
Kirk Cameron, that's his name. And in the films, he plays a character named Cameron Buck.
That's right.
So great movie. I probably watched it a couple of times, but I don't watch both that movie and the one with Kirk many times.
And if you think if you like the movie, the book is 10 times better. It's an awesome read if you don't understand what the rapture is about, the book of Revelation is about. This is a like a fictional account of it, just giving you the breakdown. I mean, of course, a movie, because of things that have not happened yet. These are the things that's supposed to happen. But if you want to get a better understanding of it, this series of books that was written by Tim LaHaye, and do you remember the other gentleman's name?
I'm not top of my head, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you can look it up. Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and I want to say Jerry B. Jenkins. We'll give you yep, it is Jerry B. Jenkins. Give you a very realistic account of what is to come in the last days.
Great movie.
Yeah.
All right. My number, like I said, it's so many movies, but I'm gonna throw a curveball at you with this movie. And this movie was made in 2005. And this movie was called Constantine. Now, if you say to yourself, is it a religious movie? Yes. Now, Constantine is a fictional character in the Marvel universe. For the Marvel fans, DC fans.
Oh, I did not know that.
This is a Marvel movie, but it was before Marvel Studios. Now they were going, but he was in the comics, and he does a lot of different things in the comics. But this story is based on the Catholic religion.
Keanu Reeves.
This is one of those movies that Keanu Reeves has gone on records and said he wants to redo in this day and age, and I don't want him to redo in the day and age of today's Marvel Studios.
This movie is so intense. He has a line in the movie that he goes to hell. And how he has to go through hell is he has to put his feet in water. And he say it's a transit. And they say, ask me the next question, is there water in hell? And I thought that was ingenious line.
Do you have that trailer, Sir Shadow?
You gotta give me a second. I didn't think I would need to pull that one up, but it is an amazing movie.
But he's fighting for the soul of somebody who went to hell, who wasn't supposed to go to hell. And he's fighting for her soul because the ultimate goal is an angel and a demon are working together to release the son of Satan upon the earth. The angel says, you was given a gift, but you just squander it. Now, if you want the love of the Lord, you have to prove it to him.
Question. You said it was Marvel, but they're showing DC. I know, didn't they buy them?
Well,
DC.
And that's the thing about Constantine. It's a DC, but it's really supposed to be in the Marvel universe. It's just technical, but I think the comics were DC. Am I right, sir? The comics were DC, right? So
No, I think Marvel ended up buying it back because I think there are a few comics that were sold to DC or other parties, and I think that Constantine ended up with Marvel after the Midnight Suns
right
arc. And I think that's where it ended. And I do have the trailer available, so just let me know when you all can see my screen. Give me 1 second. Once again, I'm going to start from a random part of the trailer so you get a little bit more information than just at the beginning.
Into the light I command thee. Into the light I command.
Oh man, I feel like I always hit it at the wrong ones because that does not even give you the intensity of that movie. That's a good movie.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Sir Shadow, that it looks like that Keanu Reeves is going to be playing Constantine because I see a picture here of new Constantine called Hellblazer.
Yeah, like I say, this particular movie, I put in the religious movie because it tested the faith in the Catholic religion. If you commit suicide, you cannot go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's trying to send so many demons back to hell that he buys his soul back so he can go to heaven. Oh, and like I say, he got an angel, Gabriel, who was working against him, who he thought was his friend. As a matter of fact, the angel that played Gabriel was the young lady that was in all the Marvel movies. There's in Doctor Strange, the bald-headed lady in Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She plays Gabriel the angel in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Great movie. Great movie. You have to watch it now. I love that. I love that movie.
That was made in 2005, and you can see it on Cinemax, or what's called Max now, Amazon Prime, YouTube, for $3.99, Google Play, Apple TV, Redbox, and Vudu for $3.99.
Quick correction: I don't believe Cinemax is called Max now. I think HBO Max is called Max now.
Well, that's why I changed it to just Max, because I don't know.
So that was 3 movies, right?
Yes, sir, it was.
So my second movie could have been my first movie, but this is Off the Beaten Path. And this movie was made in 1999. Director was Kevin Smith. And the movie is called Dogma. D-O-G. I think it's M-M. You ever seen that movie, Sir Shadow?
Mm-hmm.
You ever see that movie, Isis?
Yes, I have.
I'm trying to see if I've seen it.
You looking like you want something to say, Sir Shadow. What were you going to say?
I feel like this movie really jump-started Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's career. I could be wrong, because this is the first movie I remember them in. There are some other movies before then, maybe just a little bit
This
after
movie
them,
had
but this movie is
Matt Damon and
Is that it? Looked like it had Chris Rock and
Yep.
Selma Hayek.
Yep. And if you watch Harry Potter, Professor Snape, he's in this movie. He's the Angel Megatron.
Oh yeah.
And this movie is based on Matt Damon is the Angel of Death. Ben Affleck, his name is Loki, the Angel of Death, Loki. See, because they mix a whole bunch of religions in, hodgepodge it together.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Damon is a watcher named, I think his name was Belthar. And he didn't do anything wrong, but he talked Matt Damon's character about disobeying God.
So Matt Damon was a watcher, and what was Ben Affleck?
He was the Angel of Death. They both were angels.
Okay.
They both were angels. They went against God's commandments, and they were cast out of heaven and sent to earth for eternity until the end of days. And they ended up, and God put them in Wisconsin.
Okay,
Wisconsin.
that pen is blocking your face.
They put them in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And they said, when the world ends, they're not going to hell, but they're not going to heaven. They're going to sit outside the gates for eternity.
Wow.
So they come up with a plan, a loophole in God's word to get back into heaven. They won't be angels again, but at least they'll be able to go back to heaven and go home.
Well, a lot of people must agree with you, because it got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 62% on Metacritic. So a lot of people liked it. But I'm trying to see where you can find it at.
This movie is definitely one of those cult classic movies. It is.
Chris Rock is an apostle.
You know what? You just brought this movie up, and I thought about another movie that I really like with another person, and I'd be shocked if it's not on your list. And I wish I would put it on my list. Let me look this movie up while you discuss this a little further. But it is a cult classic. It's a really good movie, because I feel like this movie brought forth the range of a lot of the main actors, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. and even Kevin James. I think Kevin James in. I think Kevin James was in this movie. This is a big
I know
leapfrog movie for a lot of these
Bob. It was what was the name? Jay and Silent Bob, Chris Rock, the dude that played in Harry Potter,
Alan Rickman.
I think this movie started the Jay and Silent Bob spinoff.
Yeah. The comedian George Carlin. He was in it. He was a cardinal, a Catholic cardinal, opening up a church. And the best thing of this movie is Matt Damon was the angel of death. And they got a plan to get back into heaven.
You just said Matt Damon was the Watchman and
Ben Affleck was the Watcher.
Okay, because you said his name twice. So
yeah, Matt Damon was named Loki, the angel of death. And he goes to this big corporation called the Golden Calf. And when they go to the Golden Calf, Ben Affleck knows the sins of everybody. He's the Watcher. And he tells all these people their sins at the Golden Calf, who just was doing everything to make money, books, TV shows, and all that. And the stuff and some of the stuff he said these folks were doing was pretty disgusting. And Matt Damon came back with a big old gun and killed everybody in there. In the Golden Calf. Because they were worshiping the Golden Calf like Moses. But I'm not going you have to watch this movie because it's just it's something else. Great movie. Dogma.
I cannot. I think it's on maybe Netflix. Of course, you can always get the DVD because they still sell DVDs. But
I think I watched it not too long ago for free on YouTube.
Okay, well, it might be on. It's not showing me where you can see it at for some reason. I don't know why. All right,
that is really a good movie.
Yeah.
Dogma. All right, my honorable mention. I could go a lot of ways with it, but I'm gonna go this way. So, you too young, you won't remember this movie. But I actually might remember this movie. The movie is called The Prophecy. With Christopher Walken. He's the angel Gabriel. There's a war going on in heaven. And Gabriel comes down to earth to get the soul of the vile, evilest general that ever lived. And the thing is, another angel knew Gabriel was coming for him, so he took that soul out the ground, because it ain't went nowhere yet, it was still in purgatory, and put it in the body of a little girl. So Gabriel is trying to get this little girl, kill her, and take that soul back up to heaven to lead the armies, the armies in heaven against the demons. And in this movie, he's bringing dead people back to life. Somebody was going to commit suicide, and just before they died, he brought them back to life. But he's dying at the same time. His body is still a corpse. That's the one.
Yep.
That is the one.
That is literally the movie that you just reminded me of with Dogma.
The Prophecy.
That's why I was like, let me go ahead and cut my camera off so I can add this movie, because I was super hyped. Like, yeah, ain't nobody got this on their list. That was literally the movie.
Well, I got other movies, but The Prophecy fits in.
Your last two movies hit on a different level, man. I don't think people understand how good Dogma and The Prophecy are.
Great movies. It's a religious theme. Now, my number one movie, I'm pretty sure you never seen this, Sir Shadow. Isis, I know she's seen this movie. And you talk about faith. You talk about Just because where you think you're supposed to be is not where God wants you at to do his best work. This is what I tell you. That go for the modern day. This is what makes this movie so great, because people think they're supposed to be doing one thing and they think they're doing a great job, but that's not where God wants you. He has other plans for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie came out in 1997. I watched this movie with Isis the first time. And after that, I loved this movie. And the movie is called The Apostle with Robert Duvall. Now, Robert Duvall name in the movie is Apostle E.F. He has a nice sized church. He's preaching the gospel. He's doing whatever. But his wife had an affair on him and was leaving him. Yep.
Yep.
And so the guy she was sleeping with, Robert Duvall, took a baseball bat at his child's baseball game and cracked him upside the head and put him in a coma. Now he's the preacher of this big old church now. But dude's in the hospital. But the dude, he ends up dying. Robert Duvall leaves that county and goes to another little town and starts preaching and building that congregation up again and again and again. But he's asking God, like, why all this going wrong with me? My wife, she slept with somebody else. I done hurt this guy. I lost my kids. What do you want from me, God? I tried to do everything I could for you, and I put you first. And when I put you first, everything went wrong in my life. The guy he puts in a coma dies. Robert Duvall gets caught in another town and sentenced to prison for the rest of his life. But inside that prison, you know what he does? Creates another congregation and keeps preaching to those people in jail. Those who had nobody to preach to, that's where God wanted him at, a bigger audience, to let you know that even if you're a sinner, God still loves you and you can still get into his own.
Mm-hmm.
So, great. And Robert Duvall is a heck of an actor.
That was Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett, there you go. You remember?
Yeah, I had to pull it up.
Oh.
I had to pull it up and see. Yeah, that was a good movie. If you want to see it, though.
I think it was it Billy Bob Thornton?
No, it was Robert Duvall.
I'm thinking that's the troublemaker, the guy he slept with.
Let me see. They got Todd Allen, Paul Baggett. Who else is in here? I don't see Billy Bob Thornton name in here.
It might have been another movie I was thinking of. I was thinking Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, I don't see his name in here.
But it's a couple more movies, but that's my list. I'm not going to put no more honorable mentions. Other movies I can think of.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a good list.
Man, Isis, you really gonna have to chop this up because we had 2 hours.
Yeah,
and I still ain't even done my list.
And that's crazy because it's just, even though it's just the three of us and we did Kyle's list. I think, like you said, with it being such a different list, it just takes you different places.
Yeah, and we haven't had any duplicates. We haven't had anything that's a far reach. We haven't had anybody completely disagree. We're like, hey, you can't put that on the list because it don't fit the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those more powerful lists, and I know some people ain't gonna like my list. So
You never know.
But I think Eddie, your list was super dope. I think you picked some movies that a lot of people may not have thought about. I give you The Apostle because The Apostle was one that I've seen before. I didn't even think to put on my list when I was doing my research. I couldn't even find that to pull up because so many other movies came up that were not even as good as The Apostle, because I do recall that movie. That is a really good movie. And even with your addition of The Prophecy didn't come up. And that's a movie that I definitely remember watching when I was, like I said, doing my Google searches and trying to pull up and make sure that I was looking for decent movies to rewatch and make sure that they would make my list.
All right.
So you really good on your research. Good deep dive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So now we're at the grand finale. Sir Shadow,
what you got?
And if I could only be as good as some of these lists presented today,
come on.
This is I feel like a lot of times people in the comments might disagree. People who might listen, not watch, might disagree. Don't type in the comments like you should, because I want to know what y'all got on y'all list for some of these top 5 lists.
Right.
I definitely think that my list is probably the most obscure and different than anybody else a lot of times. And I'm gonna start with what I think might be just a bit different from what everybody else has put on their list so far. And it's going to be the Pope's exorcism. I'm going to give Isis a second to pull up that amazing Russell Crowe movie that recently came out.
I haven't watched it, so you can't even describe it.
I'm not gonna describe it, but I will say this. Well, I'll describe it to a T. I'll give you the premise. I won't spoil anything for you. You had this exorcist who's been out since the 1960s, 70s, I believe. I think it was the 1970s. And he is apparently the top. Yes, that's the right movie. Apparently the top, exorcist in the Vatican at the time. He only answers to the Pope, aka the Pope's exorcist. He does what the Pope says he needs to do. The Pope sends him out on this exorcism out in Spain, where the Vatican has had some history, is what I'll say. And Russell Crowe's battling his own demons, along with how these exorcism movies go. Some new guy who doesn't really know that much. He's trying to coach him through what he needs to understand. And his family who's terrified. And it's well done. It's not anything that's just all jump scares. It's not anything that's just completely political like some of the other movies that we've seen on some people's lists. It's well balanced. Good acting, good story, right? Based on a true story. Very, very well overall done. And I'll leave it at that. But I didn't expect the twist to happen there. And maybe that's just me not looking into a lot of these more recent exorcism type movies or religious type movies. But I think this one was done well. I think it sheds a light on a lot of topics that the church and religion don't talk about, whether you be Catholic, Baptist, Christian, Jewish, and a few other faiths out there. But I think this is a good, done well movie. And the acting was on point. It wasn't unbelievable. It wasn't over the top. It was done very well.
Okay.
Any questions, comments, concerns on that movie before I go into that one? Any of y'all seen that movie?
No, I
I
haven't.
I know Eddie said he hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I was looking at what the description was, and it says, um, follow Gabriel Amorth, the Vatican's leading exorcist, as he investigates the possession of a child and uncovers a conspiracy the Vatican has tried to keep hidden. Is that about right?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that the Vatican tried to keep that joint hidden because it doesn't make any sense. You got a new pope out there, or you got a pope out there who's trying to do his job, and obviously secrets on secrets on secrets. But we won't get into that. We all know how these things go.
Right.
If not, do your research, Google, YouTube, and you'll figure it out fairly quickly. So that's my number 5 on the list is Pope's Exorcism, and I'm gonna switch it up for my number 4. I really like this movie, and I'm gonna go. I think somebody did Bruce Almighty. I'm gonna go Evan Almighty on this one, right? Evan Almighty. Excuse me for clearing my throat.
Made in 2007.
Yes, with Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
Funny movie, and I feel like in some instances it is just as funny as Bruce Almighty. I think there are some scenes on there that are slept on. There's definitely an all-star cast in this movie. Obviously, it's a complete switch up from what I just did with the Pope's Exorcism. You go from the really dark and craziness to the funny and kind of out there with this. I like the way they kind of brought everything together towards the end with him saving the day and people understanding why he did what he did. I don't think this one hits as hard as Bruce Almighty, but I really do think that it's a funny movie. I think they did kind of try and push it a little further with the kind of the sequel aspect of Bruce Almighty, but like I said, it still stands on its own. It's a good movie. It's funny. I think a lot of people with religion think that everything has to be serious and historical, and I think that these types of movies help balance that out because God is hilarious. The Holy Spirit is hilarious. Jesus is hilarious.
Because I didn't want to leave anything out on where people can watch these movies. So where did you watch The Pope's Exorcist on? Did you watch it? Oh, because it's still at the theaters, right? Okay.
I don't believe it is. I think you can watch it on Amazon or
on Amazon streaming.
Okay. You can rent it on Amazon or buy it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
For Evan Almighty, they got it on Max subscription, Amazon Prime, or in Hulu. If you got those, for everywhere else you have to pay $3.99. That's YouTube, Apple TV, Vudu, Redbox, and Google Play. Thank you, Sir Shadow.
No problem. And I think people need to also take into understanding that a lot of these could be done within the next 5 days. Some of these movies might go away. So go out there, watch them while you can. Don't wait too long because, some of these streaming services have different cycles, contracts, whatever, what have you. You never know when they're going to go away. That's why you stick to your physical media. You buy when you can and be done with it, so you don't have to worry about something taken off of a streaming media, a streaming platform. But whatever, that's another topic for another day. So my number 5 was the Pope's Exorcism. My number 4 was Evan Almighty. My number 3. I don't think Eddie's gonna like this one, and I'm gonna call it out right now, just to get it out the way. And I'm gonna say Hercules.
What one are you talking the one with
Nope, I'm talking about
Frank
Disney
Johnson?
Pixar animated Hercules.
That boy really.
Yeah, buddy.
Disney.
Pull that bad boy up.
Hercules. Really? Let me
Wait,
see.
what?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Before I get into why I like this movie, Eddie, what don't you like about this movie? Why you don't want it on my
Let me
list?
see if I got the right one. Because
don't get me wrong.
is that
Everybody,
Yes, that's the right one.
everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs to feed their family. So voice actors are very important. Okay? And the only reason I'm gonna let this one slide and not really be on it hard, because it's religious movies, and sometimes for your kids to watch a religious movie, because this is a religion of this. I don't want to get it too deep, but
You keep it up, and I might add some extra movies I got to the side set up that's animated to my top 5.
And I'll tell you about this ISIS that the Greeks stole a lot of stuff from Africa and Ethiopians, and these stories are really basic stories that was told through the Bible, just changed up. And sometimes you want your kids to start learning history and different parts of different religions. They're not going to sit around and listen to me talk about it, but a cartoon will keep them interested.
Right.
So I can't fault it, but he know there's a cheat code.
It is a cheat code, and I like using this cheat code against you. Until you start adding animated movies to your list, I will forever and always.
We did a list a month ago with animated movies a month ago.
You keep it up, and I will add an animated movie to every single one of my lists because I definitely watch them bad boys. Voice actors have a place in Hollywood, whether it be overseas or here in the States.
I said that.
Conversation for another day.
I'm telling you, and this one right here hits no different. I'm so glad that I put this movie on my list because even in today, this movie doesn't necessarily hit with the person that I'm about to state, but I think it laid foundation for the person that I'm about to state and where we're going with Disney and Pixar movies. Lin-Manuel has done amazing things and I forgot his other last name because he's Hispanic, because they do the whole middle name, last name, both parents kind of set up for their names, but he's done so many amazing things for Hamilton, for Moana, for the upcoming live action Moana, and writing these scripts and writing these songs. I feel like he was probably just like me, one of those kids who watched something like Hercules, Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and put a spin on it with his culture and with his understanding of the way that music and where he was raised and where he's at. And when you do those things, you create a lane for the next generation. And I think he's setting that up for kids like my son and kids who are going to come after my son, where they can talk to their kids and be like, hey, this is what I was raised on. This is where I was at. This is what, really made me like cartoons. This is really what made me like animation. And Hercules has an amazing soundtrack along with a lot of those other things, but it's about this human / God who was raised and told that he can be better and was trained to be better and take out a lot of these demons. And did really good at it. I believe it's Greek mythology. If it's not Greek mythology, it's another mythology that, with Odin and Poseidon and all of them. I apologize if you believe in that faith or that religion, and I'm messing it up, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of which is which and that theology. But it's a really good animated film with an amazing soundtrack, good animation for its time, and good voice acting.
Well, Of course, you can see that on Disney, but they got it on Plex for free. You can rent it on Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, or Vudu for $3.99.
Side note: the guy that plays Hades, the voice actor for Hades, is also the voice actor for Marvel's Ultron, Age of Ultron, and Third Rock from the Sun. But
look at that! Look at that amazing diversity for a voice actor. That's crazy, right? That is crazy. So let me say this: I got number 5 as the Pope's Exorcism. I got number 4 as Evan Almighty. I got number 3 as Hercules. My number 2 is going to be The Life of Pi.
Okay.
Now, it's been a hot second since I've seen this movie, and the reason that I put this as number 2 because I feel like it's a culmination of several different aspects of religion. It's not just Christianity. It's not just Catholicism. It's not just Baptist. It's not just Judaism. It's not just, it's a culmination of all beliefs. It's a situation where a guy gets stuck on a boat somehow, some way, with a tiger or what he believes to be a tiger, and they got to make it across, to landfall.
Yep.
Right. And I definitely need to watch this movie again because this movie stuck with me so much that I haven't seen it since it came out. But I remember so many different scenes from this movie and so many different understandings of what the director was going for, what the screenplay was going for, what the writers were going for. It stuck with me.
Yep.
And I don't even remember when this movie came out. I think I was in high school or right after high school. And it changed my life. 2012, I think I graduated high school 2005. And for me to see that in 2012, it changed the way that I was thinking about the way that I was thinking about the existence of life and how people see the world and how this movie kind of helped shape my life is ridiculous. If you haven't had the opportunity to review it, go in there with an open mind and just receive what you're hearing. I think it'll give you a better understanding of the way that people view life, the way that people view family, the way that people view religion. Because in my opinion, I think those are all different things, even though a lot of people try and bundle some of those things into the same understanding or belief system. It's not. You kind of gotta, especially in today's days and age, you kind of have to balance that a bit different than we did back in 2012. But I think they did really good in setting that movie in the aspect of withstanding what I hope to be the sands of time. Because I don't think they offended anybody with that movie. I think that they kind of put it in a good position for it to have a long run in Hollywood.
Let me see where you can find this movie at. It's where I'm trying to locate. Because right now I'm just seeing like
that is a good movie. That is a good movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it at first, but
I didn't either. And I went in there, like I said, with just an open book of expectations, and it changed the way that I looked at a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right. So you can watch this on Tubi for free. Peacock if you have it. Otherwise pay $3.99 and watch it on Vudu or Google Play. Redbox and Apple TV has it for $4.99.
Okay.
It's The Life of Pi. All right.
So my honorable mention. I like to be a bit controversial with a lot of my honorable mentions, and I also like to think of my honorable mentions as being a close number 1. And the reason I have this as my honorable mention is because there's so many biblical aspects of this movie in a number one possibility or setting, and that is 12 Years a Slave. You have a gentleman who was free and somehow, some way got trapped in slavery, and he knows that his prayer, his faith, his belief in God is going to get him out of this situation. Even while he's watching indentured servants get out of there before his sentence is supposed to be served. Yes, that's the movie. It's won several awards, and a lot of people probably won't look at this as a religious movie. But you go back and you watch this movie, and you tell me there's not religious undertones in this movie. This movie's amazing. Another one of those movies that hit so hard that I know two people off the top of my head that have won crazy awards off of this, and I can't watch it again because it's just so impactful in my life and understanding and my beliefs. It's a tough movie. It's really good. A lot of people built their careers off this movie. It's not by all means, it's not a B-rated movie. It is A+ directing, A+ screenwriting, A+ acting. Beautiful movie, and I think it has a lot of ups and downs in it, where the drama hits you, the suspense hits you. There's a few comedic relief scenes in it, but they all hit you fairly well, and they're done very artistically, very, very well done.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
There's currently not anywhere you could see this for free. You would have to pay for it. $3.99 is a running cost on YouTube, Google Play, Redbox, Vudu, and Amazon Prime. All right. I'm trying to think if I've seen this movie. I think I have.
Brad Pitt was in that movie.
Yep, Brad Pitt is in this movie.
That was a good movie.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
He's played in a lot of movies as well. Lupita.
Yep.
She's in it. So, and of course, the main actor is, I don't want to butcher his name.
I can't pronounce the name either.
Ejiofor.
He's a British actor.
Yeah.
Well, he's a great actor. If you didn't know he's from Britain, because the British actors could hide their accent so well.
Mm-hmm.
From here to Idris Elba, to the guy that plays in that movie, that TV show, Snowfall.
Oh yeah.
I listen to him talk regular. You'd be like, wow. Old boy from Star Wars, the black dude from Star Wars. The last one,
I'm not a Star Wars watcher.
Well, he was in the last three, but he's a British actor too. He was in Pacific Rim.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about. This movie got an 8.1 out of 10 stars. So.
Yeah, it's great movie.
I think this was Lupita's first award that she won, and she was just a supporting actress in this movie.
Yeah.
Out of several, like you said, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was a supporting actor in this movie.
Yeah,
I don't think he won an award for the movie. So, if you haven't seen it, really good movie, historical value. I feel like it's A1 and very true to the source material. I could be wrong. There's still research to be done out there that I discover every day. So, it's still a good movie. So that was my honorable mention, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, let me tell y'all about this number one. All right. This number one is tough. All right. War movie called Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I had not heard about this movie. I'm not really a fan of war movies per se. But when you
It's
hear
not a
about
war
the
movie.
story, yeah. When you hear about this story, this man did not believe necessarily in what was being done at that time, and he took a stand and he did what he needed to do. And I love it because he stuck by his morals, he stuck by his values, and things around him changed. And that is something that is lost in today's day and age on a normal basis, where you believe in something and you want to stand by that. And if you put your 100% in it and you pray, you believe in whatever religion it is that you think might be the one religion, it will prove you correct if you're 100% in it.
Yep.
This guy
directed that?
Mel Gibson.
Yep.
I'm starting to see a trend here. My man Mel Gibson is understanding religion.
Yep.
Yeah.
To some degree or something.
Based on a true story.
Yeah. It is.
I think they want him to be a chaplain, but he wanted to be a medic. And his faith and what he believed in was so strong. I'm sorry, Sir Shallow. Go ahead.
Oh no. Take it away, good sir. Take it away. Because for me to have a number one and somebody else understand it, I love it.
His faith in God was so powerful. He said he would never pick up a gun. And everybody was laughing at him. Vince Vaughn. Was his name Vince Vaughn? Vince Vaughn was in that movie. Who else was in that? I remember Vince Vaughn. I remember
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington. He was the captain. He was the captain. He was like, man, you can't be by my side. But at the end of the movie, you're like, I was so wrong. You could serve with me anytime. He didn't believe. He shot his daddy. He didn't kill him. But after they swore he'd never pick a gun up again.
I've of course heard of the movie. I haven't seen it. It must be an awesome movie because it got 84% Rotten Tomatoes, 8.1 in IMDb. It made $180 million at the box office.
It deserved every penny of it.
Yeah. So
his daddy was, remember the Matrix, Mr. Smith?
Mm-hmm.
And everything else?
That's who he was, his father.
Yes. Ex-military. Alcoholic.
The only way you can see this movie for free is if you have Hulu. Otherwise, you're going to be paying $3.99 on Amazon, YouTube, Google Play, Apple TV, Redbox, and Vudu.
I promise you, this is one of those movies that is a must buy.
It's worth it.
Like, I can't stand military movies, and this does not fit into the category of any of the. It is a drama. It is a suspense. It is action. It is not a military movie. I see all of those categories
because I was like,
it's a movie. This movie is one of the great movies. My favorite line in this movie, he said he was on the hill, and he said, "Lord, just give me the strength for one more person, Lord. Give me the strength, Lord." The Lord gave me the strength. And after he did that, he said, "Lord, I'm your servant. Just give me strength for one more person. Just
I
one
promise
more."
you, with this being Memorial Day weekend, I'm probably gonna watch this movie again, along with several other crazy movies. But this is probably gonna be A1 day one. And you're right. For him to be on the ridge, historically proven place where people were shot down on a regular basis, and they could not set any sort of perimeter on that ridge. That man did the thing, and he only did it through through religion, through faith, through God, like in prayer.
God.
There was no way anybody else with no military strategy, no bombings, no explosions, no trenches was getting through that. It's crazy what that guy did. And
God,
there's no
God,
scientific explanation for what happened
through the
at
power of God.
all.
Love that movie.
I'm
Love
gonna
that.
catch
Crazy.
check that out. Tomorrow is Friday, so this is the weekend for y'all to check out some of these amazing movies. That was a great list, Sir Shadow.
Great list, Sir Shadow.
For you to have to make some changes at the last minute. We are a little bit over what we would normally do, I guess, because this was just such a great list that we came out
Way
with
over.
this. Yeah. So who has next week's movie list?
I think it's on Eddie. I had the vampires. You had the religion. Because we're missing V. Because we're missing V, we're missing Kyle.
Yeah, vampires was on Kyle and V.
He had black and white horror movies. That's what it was. Okay, so it is on me. And this category right here, I thought about it. God knew it was my time. And this can go any direction. I'm not putting any restriction on it or anything like this. What is your taste? And everybody, this is going to be different. And your top 5, I will mention a movie that touched or changed your life or made you look at life in a different light.
Movies that touched or changed my life.
It made you look at life in a different light, you know. Made you look at it different.
With no restrictions.
No restrictions. Because I don't know how it touched your life. It might have changed you from stop drinking. It might have made you an alcoholic. It might have made you want to be a mother. It made you want to be a father. It might have made you just want to be a better person. It might have made you hate white people. It might have made you hate black people.
Let me tell you right now. I'm starting right now. You see my phone in my hand? I'm
this is your own personal list.
Right now.
I don't know how this movie touched you, good or bad.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Man, this is gonna take some chopping up.
Good or bad, sad.
Take some thinking.
It might be something that just touched you emotionally, and to this day you still think about it. The reason I said that, I think about this movie you told me about a long time ago, Isis, and I know it touched you in some type of way because it was some emotional attachment with your family. And the movie was called because you always talked about it. What was it? The Invitation of Life.
Invitation of Life.
Now I don't know what it did to, but it's suddenly because you always think about it. There's something in there that touched you some type of way. Maybe because your grandmother might have showed it to you and it made you think about her when you watched. I don't know.
No, that's from my mom showed me. You know, my mom is an avid movie watcher as well and book reader.
Yeah, it might be something that when I watch this movie, it makes me think about my mother. I don't know. It's something in it just touched you and changed you in some type of way. Don't know what it is. I don't know.
Thanks for that reminder.
What was that?
On that movie.
Oh yeah, I just remember because you talk about it, and even your daughter bring it up, and you say just like an invitation to life, you gonna miss me one of these days.
Yeah, I say that to this day.
It has some type of impact on your life for you to say that. But that's the list. There's no restrictions because I don't know what movie did what.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be different for everybody. A really different point of view.
Exactly.
I like that. I'm glad you did that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I got 2 off the top of my head. Really good reasoning for them.
Yeah,
even with those 2 lists, with those 2 on my list, I don't think too many people are gonna pick them. I don't know if people understand that myself and Eddie do these lists a bit different. And if you haven't listened to the behind the scenes yet, I think me and Eddie are on the same wavelength as the way that we pick a lot of our movies. Still impactful, still hit the criteria, but we don't necessarily go for the expected. Even though the movie might be good, we try and dig just a bit deeper for those movies that people who don't look for those surface level movies. I guess is the best way to say it. Surface level is the best way to say it.
We started doing this movie list, I guess, about 2 months ago. And I'm going to give a shout out to Isis. She has stepped her game up 100%. I'm going to give it to you. Stepped your game up. You put more thought and ideas into. It's more than just a movie. What was so interesting that took you away from real life for 2 hours? That's what makes a great movie, and you giving a better description of it.
And that is a standard movie time nowadays. I don't think people realize that 2 hours is normal. It's no longer the hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty soon 3 hours gonna be normal, especially if you go see a Marvel film.
Well, nowadays the price of movies, you want 3 hours. Like, give me my whole money's worth. If I go at least get a second thing, a refill of popcorn for free. I need 3 hours.
All right, y'all. We're gonna end this. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments down below. We appreciate you spending this time with us, and don't forget to come back next week for our next show.
A small step for you, but a big thing for this channel.
That's right. All right. Thanks for joining me, Sir Shadow and Eddie. It's been great as always.
Salute.
Peace out.